In our last episode, Greece was lost, not only to rebels but to Europe itself, to the fleets and chancelleries that had willed a new state into being. The Ottoman Empire had survived, but at a cost, diminished, humiliated, and still bleeding. And in the south, a new danger grew. Not a rebel province, but a rival power. This is road to destruction, the world wars. Egypt had long been the empire's prized possession, fertile lands, a strategic artery, and the breadbasket of the Sultan's domains. But under Mehmed Ali, the ambitious Albanian commander who had risen from obscurity, Egypt became something more. It became a state within a state, a rival empire in its own right. Mehmed Ali built schools, industries, and above all, an army. Trained by European officers, drilled like the French, equipped with modern muskets and artillery, it was in many ways more advanced than the armies of the Sultan himself. For centuries, Egypt had been the jewel of empires. Rome had called it the breadbasket of the Mediterranean, feeding legions and cities alike. Whoever held Egypt commanded not just its grain, but its wealth, its ports, and its strategic artery to the Red Sea. And from Rome's Caesars to Istanbul's sultans, every ruler feared the same danger, that the general who commanded Egypt might one day turn his armies against the imperial throne itself. Mehmed Ali was that danger reborn. Ali had bled for the Ottoman cause. His troops crushed the Wahhabis in Arabia, his fleets fought in Greece, his sons commanded campaigns on behalf of the Sultan. But the cost of this loyalty was enormous. He demanded Syria, rich, strategic, and vital to his ambitions. When Mahmud refused, the alliance snapped. In 1831, Mehmed Ali unleashed his son Ibrahim Pasha upon the Ottoman heartlands. His army swept through Palestine, Lebanon, and Syria with terrifying speed. Ottoman garrisons crumbled, towns fell, and soon Ibrahim stood poised on the gates of Anatolia itself. It was not the revolt of peasants or the mutiny of janissaries. It was a modern army, disciplined, confident, and hungry. At the same time, the Ottoman navy faltered. Many officers hesitated to engage Ibrahim's forces, while others quietly sided with Egypt or refused orders outright. The defection of officers mirrored the chaos on land. Ibrahim's army moved unchallenged along the coast, securing supply lines and reinforcing his campaigns on land. The empire's instruments of power were divided. Mahmud rallied what he could. His new army, still untested and raw, marched north to meet Ibrahim. In 1832 at Konya, the two forces collided. It was a disaster. The Ottoman army was routed, its commander captured, its reputation shattered. The road to Istanbul lay open. For Mahmud, the irony was bitter. He had destroyed the Janissaries to build an army of his own, and yet his new creation had failed at the first great test. Reform had saved the throne from the past, but it could not yet protect it from the present. Desperate, Mahmud turned outward. He sought help from Britain and France, appealing to their supposed balance of power politics. But the great powers hesitated. Some preferred a weakened Ottoman state. Others toyed with the ambitions of Mehmed Ali himself. No salvation came. And so, with his back to the wall, Mahmud made the most fateful choice of his reign. He turned to Russia, the empire's oldest enemy, the bear that had clawed at Ottoman lands for a century. In 1833, Russian warships entered the Bosporus. Their soldiers landed on Ottoman soil. The empire was saved from Ibrahim not by its own strength, nor by European goodwill, but by Russian arms. The price of survival was written into a treaty at Hünkar Iskelesi. The Ottomans promised friendship, and in secret agreed to close the straits to any warships hostile to Russia. In the struggle to remain independent, the empire had bound itself to dependence. The advance of Ibrahim Pasha did not reach Istanbul. At Kütahya, Russian forces intervened, blocking the Egyptian march and forcing both sides to the negotiating table. The resulting Treaty of Kütahya ended the immediate fighting, ceding Syria and parts of the Levant to Mehmed Ali while leaving him nominally loyal to the Sultan. France and Britain, eager to maintain the balance of power in the eastern Mediterranean, pressured for a settlement that would prevent further escalation, using diplomacy to shape the outcome as much as armies had. For Mahmud, it was a bitter compromise. He had preserved the capital and retained ultimate authority, but at the cost of empowering a vassal who now possessed the army, the navy, and the resources to challenge the Ottoman state again. Europe's diplomats had shaped the outcome as much as armies, as both arbiter and enabler, reminding the Sultan that survival increasingly depended on foreign influence. Mahmud had kept his throne. He had beaten back Mehmed Ali, but only because he had opened the gates to his oldest foe. Reform had brought new strength, but also new dangers. For every victory there was a price, and the greatest price was yet to come. In our next episode, The Sultan Alone, Mahmud's fight to reshape the empire reaches its twilight. Exhausted, ill, and increasingly isolated, he will push forward with census systems, embassies, and civil codes, trying to lay the foundations of a state that can endure beyond his own life. Yet every reform he enacts carries the weight of compromise. Provinces subdued but resentful, armies modernized, and Europe watching, ready to influence the empire's fate. And looming in the background, the next generation waits. Abdülmecid, his heir, will inherit not just a throne, but the heavy burden of reform, expectation, and the shadow of Mahmud's unyielding will. This is Road to Destruction, the World Wars.